I was with my sports guy, Ron, in a swanky Northern Virginia lounge this week. We were discussing politics as we normally do. We were both pulling for the GOP ticket in Virginia. There was a bit of commotion at the door, and in walked Nancy Pelosi. The first thing she did was show everybody she can still count to 10. Everybody was pleased. The Democrats in the room gave her a standing ovation. They begged her not to retire and to take her seat back from that dull-eyed moron, Jeffries. They figure if she can count to 10, she's an order of magnitude smarter than Hakeem. After a while, the fuss died down, and Nancy took a seat at the bar and started ordering double martinis. Then Ron got an idea. He said he was going to ask her to endorse Winsome Sears for governor. I told him he was crazy, but he insisted he could do it. I bet him $10 he couldn't. He laughed and walked away and took a stool next to Nancy as she downed her third martini in 2 gulps. As I watched, Ron introduced himself, and the conversation very quickly took on a friendly, flirty quality. She touched his arm a few times and played with her hair a bit. Soon she started giggling. And then this happened. Then Ron whispered something in her ear and returned to our table. He left Nancy sweating and panting and hunched over the bar trying to collect herself. Ron looked triumphant. I told him he didn't get his $10 unless I heard her say it. Ron just laughed. Then this morning I see this.
I'm Nancy Pelosi, and you should vote for Winsome Sears for governor of Virginia.
I should have told Ron to get some stock tips Nancy takes home from work to give to Paulie P.
This is the Free Zone Communiqué, transmitting from Virginia's unoccupied sector. If you think smart cities, DEI, censorship, government intrusion, bug paste, and other left-wing nonsense are no longer a possibility, think again. We've won one election with slim majorities. Our work to rebuild a free and sane America has just begun.
This is the Free Zone Communiqué. I'm your host, Matt Jordan, bringing hope to victims trapped behind the wire in blue cities. Today we're going to talk about the US, the UK, voters' remorse, and do an update on the shutdown. So when are we going to see the rotund Governor Pritzker in handcuffs? He is actively thwarting federal law enforcement and fomenting violence against ICE. A police chief in Illinois, following Pritzker's lead, refused to respond to an assistance call by ICE after multiple lunatics carried out an assault by motor vehicle. It was 10 vehicles, actually. One attacker evidently brandished a weapon and got her own dumbass shot by the feds. This is the increasing violence I have said the Dems are trying so hard to inspire. Pritzker, Newsom, and their ugly ilk are still using language like Gestapo, fascist, end of democracy, existential threat to get people to attack law enforcement and each other. They don't care a lick about who gets injured or killed. They don't care which side you're on or whether or not you're a cop. They just want to see their own streets running with blood. They are still trying to create a nightmare scenario so they can say, see, We told you conservatives are violent. They're very close to their dream scenario. Podcasters and counter-protesters are being provoked and attacked. ICE and DHS officers are being doxxed in the hopes of seeing them and their families harmed. Mobs intentionally assault cops and stone their vehicles. The behavior is worse than what you would expect from a spoiled 9-year-old. But hey, they get on TV, right? While all this is happening, dozens, if not hundreds, of people are getting shot every month in Chicago. For just one example, neither the mayor, Brandon Johnson, nor Pritzker has the least interest in stopping these killings. They are not affected by them. They have security and live in comfort in gated communities. They don't give a rat's ass about the people of Chicago. Earlier this year, Pritzker walked his fat ass along the lake in the richest community in the city in broad daylight to say, see, look how safe the city is. Pritzker could call up the guard himself to assist state and local enforcement in cleaning up the shithole the rest of the city is. He has the authority to ask ICE to help him remove gangs run by illegal immigrants, but he doesn't. Knowing it's harmful to the fabric of the nation, especially allowing the illegals to run wild, Trump has stepped in. And here's the good part about that. ICE doesn't need Pritzker's permission to scrape illegals from the street. They have a mandate to do that from sea to shining sea. And Hegseth doesn't need anyone's permission to send troops to defend federal personnel and facilities while they're doing their job. And here's the reason we're seeing idiotic riots and protests against ICE and the people sent to protect them. For decades, no president has had the balls to enforce immigration law anywhere in the country. The Dems want illegal votes and body count for the census. Republicans, owned by the Chamber of Commerce, yes, they have a national office, want slave wage labor. And no one wanted to do the actual work of getting rid of the illegals anyway. Hell, Obama and Biden, which is to say Obama again, actively flew these people to strategic locations to create instant ghettos of illegals free of charge. So when Trump decided to start enforcing federal law, the idiots were shocked. Why, they asked, can we not do anything we want regardless of the law? Idiots like Antifa poofs don't understand the rule of law. This ignorance and mass immaturity is fanned by lefties and the media. So Trump is a shock to the system. D.C. is proof that just by having troops there, regardless of mission, violent crime goes down. And that is what Johnson and the fat guy do not want. And it's not the reason you see federal law enforcement in riot gear in these cities. Drops in crime, especially violent crimes in their AOR, is just a happy benefit. Instead of working with Trump and saying, okay, you guys bring in ICE to root out the foreign gangs and other illegals and report any intel you gain about domestic gangs to us. And we will have more resources to police all the crime in this city. Instead, Fatty and Johnson chose to talk about Hitler and Gestapo and all that other girly bullshit. And the stupid among the population are steered by paid riot organizers into the gentle hands of federal law enforcement. I see the mass use of water cannon, nightsticks, and beanbags in the very near future, and it couldn't be more deserved.
Please hang up and try again.
At the bottom of the page, I'll leave links where you can find all our stuff. Wherever you get to P4B in the Free Zone, please follow, subscribe, leave reviews and comments. And share. This is how we grow. I'll leave a link to where you can support the P4B directly, so you too can be a political party pooper. But the most pleasure you can get by supporting us is to shop Po River. I'll leave samples and links for that as well. Thanks to all our supporters and subscribers. I saw an interesting post the other day. I've been listening to the UK's loony establishment left telling everyone that there are no grooming gangs and mass rapes going on in England. Meanwhile, their own reports show that is exactly what's been happening. There's a link. The establishment left has made two assumptions about the rank and file left that have proven to be accurate. The average lefty citizen is a gullible, malleable idiot. And the educated among the left love to be lied to and will fight tooth and nail to defend what they know to be lies. And of the whole pack, you can say not one cares a lick about their fellow citizens. Not when they can get on TV fighting for those who make life in their nation miserable. It's time to call for a no-confidence vote. It's time to install majority reform backed by conservatives. It's time to rid UK government of all those who wish to destroy the nation to make way for ever-increasing government control. It's time to completely lock Sharia from any authority in a civilized Western nation. While they're at it, they might want to kill the net zero carbon bullshit, which will utterly destroy what's left of the British economy. Voters' remorse. In 2016, when they found Hillary's emails on Arnold Horshack's computer, the number one search on Google for the next few days was asking how one can change their vote. And for good reason. There's a footnote. In 2020, when we found out that Hunter had all kinds of incriminating information about Joe on that laptop he abandoned, there was a similar search for vote changing. As a cherry on top, the FBI and the intelligence community conspired to lie about the contents of the computer for the next 4 years. We all knew the information on a computer was true even back then, from the first day. This is why I reject outright the value of early voting, Election Day, for dozens of reasons, especially the two examples listed above, should be 1 day, a hard deadline, where the whole game plays out until the buzzer. Exceptions can be made for the invalid and those overseas. They always understood that they were forced to make a judgment call before all the plays were in. But we healthy grown-up citizens are not forced to do that. Early voting and mass mail-in are just symptoms of a lazy society and a petri dish for cheating. It is nothing else. Fast forward to last week, we learned that Jay Jones is a psychotic, demented pig. He sent a text to an equally creepy Dem talking about putting 2 bullets in the head of a Republican House delegate. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot, Jones wrote. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. But it doesn't stop there. This wasn't just a blurted thought carelessly written and then taken back. No, Jones hit it again. Spoiler. Put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. That's what Jones told his pen pal, Coiner. Once caught, Jones suddenly found religion and said how terribly sorry he is for these texts. He can be as sorry as he wants to, but this is a clear display of the mind of a man who is running for Attorney General for the Commonwealth of Virginia. This will be the acid test for the last of the grown-ups left in the Dem Party. We will see with this election if the left has learned anything over the past few months. I wonder if there are early voters who wish they hadn't voted for Jones out there. To this I'll add a repeated warning. Northern Virginia is a haven for federal employees. They traditionally vote Dem because the Dems are traditionally the big government regulation monkeys. The federal employees see this as being beneficial to them. That's usually an exaggerated view, but okay. That's stipulated. That doesn't translate as a reason to vote left in Commonwealth elections. That's a different can of worms altogether. State and local Dems are the ones who tax you more and more for less and less every goddamn year. And you can map this yourself. The higher your state and local taxes, the lower is your quality of life and the fewer and poorer the services you get for your dollar. But most important, the state and local lefties are nakedly coming for your kids. They want to turn them into weak-minded, docile proles. They want to groom them for the entertainment of kinky parents and cross-dressing adults. Voting for these people is actively sacrificing your kids to the violent, sick Instagram trans fad. If you want twisted adults telling your son he can be a girl, by all means, vote for Spanberger and her ilk. If you think it's okay for kids to be mutilated for the kinky gratification of their own parents, vote Dem. But if you are a normal, well-adjusted adult, you cannot vote for these sick people. Vote Sears, Reeds, Mieres. In your district, vote GOP. So we can flush this trans and woke insanity from the system. Shutdown update. The Dem shutdown, caused by the Dem poison pill on the CR, is holding, but I'm hearing rumblings about a compromise. This would be suicidal and inexcusable on the part of the GOP. Everyone knows how we got here. Even the talking heads on CNN and MSNBC who say the GOP shut down the government know the Dems shut down the government. It's a CR. It's the same thing Chuck Schumer voted for in March. But he was punished by the loony left, most of the Democratic Party, for voting for it. A CR is by its very name a continuation of what we already have. It's not a new budget. It is Congress authorizing the executive branch to continue spending at existing levels on existing programs. When a CR is put before Congress and one party refuses to vote for it, that party and no one else is responsible for shutting down the government. Of course, the Dems, led by 12-year-olds, put forward a $1 trillion load of new spending and pretended this was responsible, acceptable behavior. It's not, of course. Think about it. What would a compromise look like? $500 billion in new spending on a CR? Budget negotiations take place in the budgeting process. We already have a few of the 12 packages done and in the can. The CR is intended to allow Congress to continue on with the others until we have a budget to send to the White House. Any compromise at this point would make the GOP as stupid and childish as the Dems are. They must hold the line. Will that be painful? Eventually. When you have an entire party behaving like petulant children to please a small fraction of crazies, the people might force them to grow up if they feel a little bit of ass pain. If the GOP gives an inch on this stupidity, we all lose.
Please tell a friend about the Free Zone Communiqué. We live and die with the share and subscribe buttons. Please use affiliate and sponsor buttons to support our work. Thank you very much for joining us today.